to Jurassic Park.
James Pittam, welcome to the Your Personal Training Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Aaron, down in sunny Swansea.
Indeed, it's been a very, very sunny day today. So we're here today to kind of understand JP, the person, rather than just JP, the regional director. Try and find out what makes you tick, secrets of building a successful career, because you've been in the industry quite a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, 23 years this year for my sins. So April 2002, yeah.
Wow, amazing. So 23 years, way longer than I've been in it. So pre-fitness, you obviously had a career before you kind of became a personal trainer or started working in fitness. I obviously know what that was. Obviously, we've known each other for over 8 years now.
Yep.
So obviously we've had a chance to kind of talk about that and kind of learn more about each other. But what was your career like before personal training? Did you have multiple careers, different types of jobs? What were you doing?
Well, I'll go back to my schooling and probably start from there, really. I did my initial education in York. Absolutely loved York. Got some great family and friends there still. Played a lot of football. Was on the verge, potentially, of maybe going a bit further with that. Then my mother remarried and we moved to the Sunny Lake district where I completed my GCSEs, then went on to do A-levels, probably forced into it by my mum more so because she was a head teacher and she definitely made me do more revision. But that was good because I got a good education and a cracking school up there in Penrith, Cumbria. From that, I wasn't really sure. I mean, didn't have a clue, to be honest. I ended up falling into the construction industry. For 4 or 5 years, went to college 2 days a week, did an ONC, HNC in building studies, ended up working for a building company that I was doing pricing, estimating, surveying, but knew 9 to 5 in an office, staring out of an office window was definitely not for me. I was always playing football, I was running, I was going to the gym. I'd had a very active sort of sports career at school, and the company went bust. And you could say it could be down to my pricing, but yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, I literally had Armed Forces brochures in my top drawer in the office. And I always had ambition to join the Royal Marines, to take on that challenge. And that's what I fell into. I ended up doing my basic training, my 8 months at Lympstone, 1996, and then had a fantastic career for about 8-9 years with the Royal Marines, travelling the world. Loved it, absolutely loved it.
Amazing. And yeah. I love the stories you get to tell about that, and obviously the people you get to meet and things like that. It's absolutely brilliant. So from the Royal Marines, so obviously whenever you leave anything like that, obviously we know a lot of people that have left the armed forces and gone into different careers. What made you decide that you wanted to go into fitness and personal training from that? Because you would have had a lot of options afterwards, because it's a bit of an open choice, isn't it, when you finish?
Yeah, in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, I think I would have liked to have done maybe a little bit more with the Marines. Personal circumstances, as you know, the death of my brother around about 98 sort of forced me into making some decisions as to where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. But like a lot of the armed forces guys that we see who apply for jobs with us and come for us for PT careers, the Royal Marines for sure was a definite sort of natural progression. After that was personal training, health, fitness, well-being, coaching, strength and conditioning with professional sports clubs, physio. A lot of the guys, including myself, sort of fell into that transition, and that felt natural. I think with regards to some of the people that we meet who've got those armed forces career backgrounds, they make very, very strong personal trainers. And I think that's what set a good foundation for me when I set up my business up in the Lakes.
Awesome. I think the user term there, fell into it. That's the exact term that I use when it comes to why I went into personal training. Like it wasn't my first choice. It was, it was a course that I was sort of allowed to do through various things, but ultimately, go in just to learn a bit more about, the body, how to train yourself, and obviously keep going. So how did your kind of career in personal training start? So obviously you would have done, did you do a kind of straight course? Was it one of those 12-week sort of residentials? Did you do online? And then did you go straight into being self-employed, or did you kind of work for somebody first? What did the start of that look like?
It was the old Premier one,
yeah.
Which I read actually, I think just this week, that the chairman, Mr. Norman Basson, had passed,
yes.
which was quite sad news, because I always looked up at my certificate back in the day when I first passed, and saw that Norman had signed the bottom of that. So that was very sad news to hear that. With regards to the Premier course, it was the 12-week one down in Bath and Trowbridge. It was the combined personal training and sports massage course. Went back home, went back to the Lake District, set up a self-employed PT business combined with sports massage as well. I wanted to get into the remedial massage and the rehabilitation side as well. But at the same time, I was probably doing about 25 hours a week as a fitness instructor. I had 0 clients. I taught some classes, body combat for my sins, aqua aerobics for my sins. And I've got to thank probably, Jill Manahira, Moira Dudson, who took me on as a fitness instructor back then for Shire Hotels, which is now Thwaites, and a thriving hotel chain. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So you were doing everything then, weren't you? What made you kind of then hone down into personal training and kind of working with people on a one-to-one basis? Because you're doing fitness instructing, Group X, all that kind of stuff. So what made you think, right, personal training is where I want to go down now?
Initially, I said yes to everything. I was trying to do as much as I could, but get involved in as much as I could as well, like local community schemes, which included like cardiac rehabilitation. At that time, it was funded by like the local council. Things like GP referrals, going out, helping schools, meeting pupils for workshops and talks, things like that. I was just trying to get involved with absolutely everything until I sort of found my niche in a way. Yes, financially, I was probably following what was best for me, and probably what wasn't burning me out the most, because I was probably doing everything, absolutely everything. I was probably doing easy 60, 70-hour weeks with a combination of employed work, self-employed personal training, self-employed sports massage, classes, plus all the stuff I was doing in the community. But I think with regards to, it was a mixture of the financial side pulling me in one direction, but also the enjoyment and the work-life balance, I think, over the years. But it certainly took a good 10, 15 years to sort of, find a real direction and foundation, I think.
Was that a challenge to juggle so much? Because obviously you see, obviously people get recommended to go, right, do this job and then do personal training on the side and then do some Group X because you might kind of meet some clients there and things like that. Did you find that a bit of a challenge trying to juggle everything and try and figure out exactly what you wanted to do? Because you're being pulled from pillar to post with all those different things that you could be doing in fitness. Was that difficult to then go from that to, right, I'm now going to choose personal training?
Yeah, it was very difficult. There was a lot going on. There was a heck of a lot going on. Probably if I had the business mentors that we have around us in the industry today back then, I probably would have done it better. I look at the likes of Phil Lerney, who was obviously from the same town as me and a good friend. He's done very, very well with his business and what he does with regards to teaching the business side to personal trainers. And,
he's done all right.
Yeah, he's done okay. And obviously what we do now, with regards to our mentorship and our education courses and business courses. So I probably fell in... in a way, I probably maybe fell into it in a little bit of a just naturally, really. There was a lot going on. It was very difficult to balance everything. But at the same time, I wouldn't change it because a lot of that experience I still sort of use now when I'm talking to new trainers and new PTs, especially when it comes to, getting yourself out there, meeting new people, client lead generation, and getting yourself known in a particular club or a town or a borough or even a county.
Yeah.
So
when you moved into fitness, started personal training, obviously for me, I would say when I moved into PT, like I was always right. I want to get that first client, and then I think I don't know if it's what every PT does, but I spent hours going on like PT on the net. I was really going to structure like that first session, wanted to get it perfect. What was your first experience like with your first client, that first ever session? How did you find it?
I was nervous. I was very nervous. And bizarrely enough, I came from obviously a Royal Marines background where I'd travelled the world. I'd been operational 3 times in Afghanistan, Sierra Leone, Kosovo, and yet I'm turning up for my first PT session and I was nervous, which was bizarre really because I wanted to get it right. I wanted to have such a high standard and set that foundation for my business going forwards. And it was bizarre because I set a small box advert in a local newspaper and got my first 2 clients. One was gym-based, one was a home visit. And it was very, very nerve-wracking. But again, it's something that I pass on to the trainers that we look after today, and the management structure that probably lies beneath me at the moment. It's very, very good when it comes to life skills and educating people because you've been through a situation where you've been put in a very, very difficult situation, and it's making the best of it. And I think they are great life skills. And as you've put yourself in very difficult situations as well, and been through the Limpston system, so to speak. So I think it does make a better person of you.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of you've done a lot, and I think obviously with transitioning what you do now, obviously learning what you did running your own personal training business. What do you think when you were doing all that to what you kind of do now in terms of recruiting and supporting PTs? What do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned from running your PT business that's the kind of main thing that you would pass on to one of the PTs that you support now?
You have got to not see anybody next to you as competition, see them as someone who you can learn from. I think there's too much bitching in local gyms or communities or towns where you find that trainers see other trainers as a threat.
Yeah.
But everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and I think you can either work together, you can learn from one another. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned, probably from running my own business to then coming into the Your PT family, was I learned so much more by bouncing stuff off you guys and how you used to run your business back in the day, and how James Lorry used to do his, and how Ollie used to do his, and Pete Davidson and Sean Cooper. And, although some of these guys have not been in the industry maybe as long as me, I sometimes see myself as a bit of a dinosaur. We had the Yellow Pages back in the day, not an internet. My closest competition was 25 miles away. Things have moved on massively, and I've learned so much from sharing ideas and learning from the guys that I work with, the family, so to speak, which in essence has benefited me with my own business because I'm able to apply it now because it's still running. And I've got a great team, trustworthy, hardworking, very loyal. And the good thing is that they get on with it. And I have an input every now and then. And I can input what your PT's taught me with them when it comes to things like appraisals, management skills, things like that. So I think probably the biggest thing is that always keep learning and don't see the next PT next to you as competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd agree. And if it helps, I do still see you as a dinosaur. So obviously you were, I think when you left the Royal Marines, I think I was in year 9, if that makes you feel any better.
Thanks very much.
But as we said, obviously you now recruit and support PTs. So even pre your personal training and obviously what you've seen now in the kind of last 8 years, is there, a single common trait or a kind of series of common traits that you kind of see in a kind of successful PT and think as soon as you've met somebody, right, they've got that. Now we just need to build the rest around it, because we know that, not every PT reaches success in the same way. Like, everybody's going to do it in their own way, but there is going to be those commonalities that kind of go down the middle. So for you, what do they look like, and when do you tend to spot them in a personal trainer?
You can spot them straight away when it comes to screening calls, interviews, especially things like confidence and communication. I think they're two big things for me. Personality, probably a third one as well. They're probably my big three. If they can communicate, they've got a cracking personality, and they are a confident person, they're going to go a long way. I don't care how good or how bad their training program is, as long as they're not giving a 75-year-old pensioner chest to floor burpees. Yeah. It's got to be somebody who can get out there, graft. They've got to understand, what it's like to run a self-employed business. I don't care whether it's personal training or running a sports shop or a bike shop or a cake shop. You have got to put in that commitment. So if they've got the confidence, the personality, they're two big ones with me, definitely.
So the kind of things you mentioned in terms of like the programming and stuff like that, we obviously know that can be taught. Obviously, you can go on CPD, you learn things on your initial kind of level 3 course, things like that. So the traits that you see from successful PTs, do you think they can be taught and bred into a trainer, or do you think there's always got to be some level of foundation from who they are as an individual and the types of people that can go on to become successful PTs?
Yeah, there's a mixed bag. At the end of the day, there's a mixed bag, and you can teach people certain traits. I think sometimes it's just a case of having the right tools, or us as mentors having the right tools and guiding them in the right direction. Yes, if they are lacking in one area, it's maybe just going to take a bit of time to get there. If they're lacking a bit of confidence or communication skills, it's down to us and the regional personal training managers to shadow sort of gym floor, shadow consultation processes, that type of thing. So I think everybody is teachable. It's just that obviously, like us all, we've all got strengths and weaknesses, and it might just take a little bit of time with certain individuals to get there eventually. Yeah.
I would say, I think one of the things that I kind of notice in, when I was kind of doing what you were doing, and obviously even alongside other PTs, that was confidence was a big thing, and I think people call it imposter syndrome now, and kind of say this kind of widespread thing, but ultimately it's kind of a lack of self-belief. It's almost like an intruder that's come into your house a little bit. Like you are naturally mega confident, but when you go into something new, you're not naturally going to have that level of confidence that's going to allow you to go out and kind of walk on the gym floor and do that. So if you've got a PT like that, they've got the personality, they've got the skills and everything else, but you see when they come through the door, a bit like us, we were a bit nervous and kind of lacking that self-confidence, that little bit of self-belief, that self-doubt kind of comes in. How would you advise somebody to get over that kind of mental block? Like, what would you do with that person?
Well, I mean, at Your PT, we've got loads and loads of different tools that we use. I like to call it the Your PT toolbox, and the trainer has got to take a little bit of responsibility and pick it up, grab the opportunity by the scruff of the neck and drive it forwards. It's a good question, to be honest. It's a very good question.
Thank you. It's not one that's written down either. So
yeah, you've got me there, and you're testing me. Application, I think when you've got somebody who has got that barrier or that block, they've just got to repeat. And we're very big on that, in that, if you find something and it's working, continue with it. If it's a bit of a barrier, stop it and maybe find something where you can go around it and then go in a different direction. Stop, start, continue. We use it a lot, don't we? So I think at the end of the day, it's just a case of being resilient and sticking with it. And if we can be there as a shoulder to cry on, or somebody who they can reach out to on a regular basis, which we are, that's probably the best solution, compared to so many young PTs these days who they would hit that barrier, and rather in confide in us and get around it, they would just give up, and sadly they'll choose another career.
I think the word you said there, repetition, is kind of one thing that it's a funny thing with personal trainers. We talk about reps all day long. Like, you do the more reps, you're going to get stronger at it. Like, you do your 10,000 hours, all that kind of stuff. So ultimately, repetition of what they're doing is just a slightly different field. So rather than doing more reps of a squat or a lunge and kind of learning how to do it properly, we're talking about doing more reps of, you know, interacting with people, building that confidence, doing the kind of consultations or the taster sessions, whatever you want to call it, and learning from what you've maybe not done so well and kind of picking that up. So I think repetition, I think, is ultimately the important thing there. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the kind of nice stuff in terms of what we see in successful PTs. But what are the things that you see in a personal trainer that just sort of tells you straight away this might not be for them, or you think, do you know what, they're not going to be able to turn that around? So a red flag in someone, if you will.
The best one, I always love this. I always love doing my first Teams call after 1 week and ringing them on the Teams call, and they pick up, which is great. That's a good start.
Yeah.
And it's 10 o'clock in the morning and they're sat at the kitchen table. And straight away I'm like, hang on a minute, you're running your own business here. We had a conversation a week ago where we said, look, you've got to be doing at least 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. I know I probably did 60, 70, as did you. Maybe they should be doing it as well. Living, sleeping, breathing the gym in the first 90 days, essentially, if not the first 12 months. And massive, massive red flag is first support session and they're not even at work. You then start picking up on body language, negativity with regards to certain comments. And it's then, I mean, that molds a session in a way. You know, straight away you've got someone week one, they're not in a great place, they're not even in the gym, they've got negative comments about, oh, I've not had many taster sessions booked, I've not got many people asking me about PT, and it's like, you're 7 days in, you know.
Yeah.
So we've been through this before as well, getting on their level, being more empathetic, not expecting them to do what I did. You know, probably my old school mentorship would be give yourself a shake, get on with it.
Yeah.
As we got taught at Lympstone, but no, with the certain individuals, you've got to treat them in a different way, be more empathetic. But I mean, sat at your kitchen table 10 o'clock after week one, it's not a great start, is it? It's not a great start. But I think things like that, they're red flags. You pick up on the body language, you're picking up on the negative comments, and then it's a case of right, I need to map this next six weeks, this next 90 days out, you know.
Yeah, I think I would. I'd agree with you with that one. I think it ends up being a bit of like a reciprocal narrowing. So you kind of end up like it doesn't go so well in the first week of the gym. So you kind of your self-confidence takes a bit of a hit.
Yeah.
So you go, well, I don't really want to go back there because it's not a good place. I don't feel very good because I feel like I'm failing at something. So then you are at home at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday watching YouTube videos or whatever people do at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, and then you're spending less time in the gym, so you're absolutely not going to meet those potential new clients and get the reps in for doing that. So I'd have to agree with you on that one. I think that's one of the things that I would look out for, especially so quickly, because it comes down to the kind of resilience of somebody. If their self-doubt is that big and their self-confidence is that low,
yeah,
how quickly can they come back from that, and is it going to be quick enough?
Yeah, I think sometimes trainers are led into that false sense of I need to be hammering my online business, and obviously we've got to get people out of that habit because they need to be building a foundation in the gym floor face to face before they even potentially look at online. And as you know, online clients comes from face to face interactions on the gym floor, and I've seen it quite a lot where trainers are spending far too much time concentrating on their online business side because they want to be the next best influencer on Instagram. They want to make a fortune before they make a living, which is the old classic saying that we always repeat to each other. And it's a case of, look, you know, get out of your house, get into that gym floor, be the face of your club. Simple.
Yeah. But it is more fun making reels on Instagram though, isn't it? Because no one's going to reject you on that, so to speak. So if you get 1 or 2 likes, you feel much better than being
your endorphins go through the roof. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe I should try it.
Yeah, amazing. So obviously you've had a very successful career as a PT. Obviously you've done lots of other things in fitness as well, but what's the one thing that you wish trainers understood more about building a sustainable career or a sustainable business as a personal trainer?
I think you've got to be your own best advert. That doesn't happen enough. You've got to be the go-to person and think, I know if I walked into a gym and I had a choice of 6 trainers, I'd pick the one that was in shape, for sure. You've got to create that community. I think that's a big one as well with your clients. You know, I've done a military circuits boot camp probably for the last, 23 years. And, you know, we go out for socials, we go out for walks, we have Christmas parties, things like that, get-togethers. Everyone goes for a coffee after the session as well. And it, you know, it's creating those little golden nuggets, I think, that helps with being and having a sustainable business. Customer service has got to be there. You've got to have people who enjoy what they're doing, because if they don't enjoy it, they won't come back. You've got to take the barriers out of it as well, I think. You know, people who can't travel 10 miles to come and do a session, well, you go to them, especially in the early days. Yeah, charge them for it. Charge them a bit of travel time off you. You do that, you go there. Oh, I've not got a car. Well, cycle there, run there. Go running with your client. You've got to make it easier and really, really smooth for the client, so there's no barriers and it's dead easy. The customer service, enjoyment, they are 2 main things I think that creates a sustainable business for sure.
So you're talking about kind of you're getting them the results, but you're also treating them really well.
Oh, God, without doubt, they are number one. They have got to be number one. I mean, I when I probably first started, I was sacrificing so much. You know, I would sacrifice probably family time and my time. I would work into my weekends. I would do late nights. I would do early mornings. It wouldn't bother me if I was working a Saturday or a Sunday. You've got to do anything and everything to get it to a point where you can then sit back and relax a bit. And I think that's the danger, that trainers are often sitting back and relaxing too soon. Too soon. You've got to build that solid, sustainable business through customer service, through your community and things like that, and just keep, again, repeat. And then those people will stay with you for life. I've got clients that have been with me for 23 years.
Wow.
And, you know, they're the ones that you need to look after.
Yeah. And ultimately, they've probably already got the results that they came to you for. And obviously things change as obviously people go through the years, people pick up injuries or have different goals and things like that. So they're always coming back to you to go, this is a trusted pair of hands. I like JP. I want to keep working with him and I know he can help me out. And that's allowed you to do that with the same people for 20 plus years, which is amazing. Coming on to the kind of last couple of bits now then, probably a bit more kind of personal and obviously about you in terms of what's kind of helped you in your kind of personal and professional life. So is there any particular habits or a single habit that you think has been like a complete game changer, either personally or professionally?
Structure. Definitely having a structure. I think you and a lot of people will have seen, I think it's a US officer, it might be a US Marine, and about making your bed first in the morning. I can't remember what he is, what rank he is, or anything like that. But forgive me, it's quite a famous video that gets knocked about, and maybe call me a little bit OCD. I don't know. I do tend to put things in boxes, and I like to be organised. And I think you've got to be organised and have some structure, just so you can run your business efficiently, and you're not forgetting about anybody, and you're not forgetting about the little things that create that sustainability, create that healthy client base. Because those who are attention to detail, I think, and that maybe that comes from the military, I don't know.
Yeah.
They will succeed because it's just the little things that customers like. And those trainers will be the ones that won't have to keep backfilling clients that are leaving. Yeah. They'll just have a solid base going forwards for years and years and years. So I would say, golden nugget, structure, make your bed in the morning and make it well before you do anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, and anything you do in the morning kind of anchors the day, doesn't it? So if you have that structure, that routine, it kind of sets you up. And I think, you know, I've certainly been guilty myself, especially as a personal trainer, where I would turn up on a Wednesday morning when I was still building my client base and not really have a plan for the day. I just thought I'll turn up and I'll figure it out when I get there, which is probably been a trait I've had my entire life, and kind of fly by the seat of your pants. But I think definitely having a bit more structure and something that anchors what you do every day, depending on what type of work you're doing that day, is massively helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. So final thing from me on this one is the one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's just starting out on their fitness career journey, just coming into the sector. What's the one thing that you would tell them?
Take every opportunity you can, grab everything that you can, and eventually you will be naturally directed into where you want to be with your business. I think that's the biggest plus that happened to me when I started, was I just said yes to everything. Yeah. And even if I hated it, yeah, do you want to teach aqua aerobics? Yes, I do want to teach aqua aerobics. I want to meet these ladies twice a week in the pool and teach aqua aerobics. I got a wine voucher out of it every Christmas. I made some great friends. And do you know what? Eventually, I got PT clients out of it. And now, you know, these groups of people, you know, they come to me, to my business for other services that we provide, you know, your sports massage, your chiropody, your podiatry, those types of things. So I think it's a case of grab every opportunity that you can, say yes to everything, and you will just find your natural path eventually. Yeah. You'll go with where you want to go, whether that's financial or whether that's work-life balance or job satisfaction. You know, you will find your path. And if I'm allowed to give two,
go on.
Learn from those around you. I've got some great people around me, and I've learned a massive amount, probably in the more modern era of my business, seeing as though I'm the dinosaur at your PT.
Yes, and you are exactly that. JP, this has been brilliant, mate. I've really enjoyed this. So I appreciate your time as always. And yeah, hopefully we'll get you back on soon.
Thank you, Aaron. Cheers, much appreciated.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Is it yo-yoer or yo-yoist or yo-yo artist?
Good question. Just legend.